Okay, so here we are. We're going to investigate and document the TPS circuit. And what you're looking at here is a throttle positioning sensor that is connected to the key-in throttle body back there. You can see the high idle, and I don't know if you can see the yellow idle circuit is on the other side. But essentially, this is connected directly in the middle of the throttle body and provides feedback in voltage to the ECU and sensor system to tell the ECU, hey, you know, I'm open this much or that much, and it's a numbers thing. So it's measured in volts off of a voltmeter. You can use a dongle that snaps into this little connector. You take this off, we'll do that in a second, and use a multimeter. You don't need to have necessarily this nice TPS tool thing, but just realize if you do use a dongle with a normal like fluke multimeter, that you're gonna have to hit the start button for it to send voltage there. Where this one has a battery and an on-off, and it's kind of like it'll read things without having to continually hit the start button every time you make a change. So there was a plastic side cover here that just bolted here and here. It was a 4mm Allen. And this is essentially how we're gonna how to read your TPS and how to document what is stock from an unfired bike, unmolested, untouched. And basically this little snap connector gets pulled off with a little push of that. I'm gonna push this just out of the way. Okay. And now we're gonna plug in, I'm doing this by myself, so sorry if this is shaky. We're gonna plug this dongle in off of this TPS tool. And when I turn this on, it's gonna basically know and learn voltage, and it's gonna display it on this. And I'm gonna guess that this is probably in the 5.500 range. So we're gonna turn it on, and here we go. All right, so it's reading that information and where that throttle position is as 0.516263. So it's fluctuating a little bit, and that's not untypical. But so document that and write it down. And that's as simple as that. Down the line, why is it important to do something like this? Because if you have to replace this, if you have to, wanted to make a change to your throttle position position off of idle, you can always have a baseline and know that just goes in with an audible little click, and then the cover goes back on right here. Why is it important? That's why. Because you kind of want to know where your starting position is. And of course, I can't recommend that you go mess around with this, but should there be some sort of reason why you would want to, you simply loosen a few of these, and this will rotate back and forth, and you can just monitor it real time with that readout again on that and know, hey, 0.5164 was my initial, 0.5170 feels really good, like we made an improvement. Okay, well, there you go. It essentially, when you increase the volts, it's going to increase the AF initial start. So you're sort of opening the valve electronically a little bit more, advancing the voltage prior to it opening. So once you do open it, it's going to send more there than if it was, this initial setup. So that's essentially the TPS circuit. That is kind of sort of the same thing as the Rockstar 450 over there. The 4 strokes are EFI now, so there's an TPS circuit there as well. And I have adjusted that one. That one happens to be 0.605 or something when it was 0.580 stock or something. So I advanced that a little bit. So upon fire up and initial idle, when it's just starting its cycle, it's got a slightly richened condition. So that's what you're doing. You're actually richening the circuit should you advance the voltage. And if for some reason you were to take this and adjust it and go 0.400, which is probably the lowest value you'd see, it would lean out thing. So you're taking away. So adding is going up, taking away is going down. Honestly, I've never, ever, ever reduced it past where it was the way it came stock. It's always been a small advance. And again, I am not recommending anybody run out and do this. I am saying just to document what you have. Down the line, you add something, this gets broken. Who knows? This thing gets smashed off. You're like, oh, I got to replace that. And I don't know where to set it. Well, now you did. At least you recorded it. And you can save all these on your phone in a little notepad on your phone and have a reference of that. So this is the type of thing we're going to just do with his bike. That's all I needed to know from this right now. I'm going to button it all back up and move on a few other things. So TPS circuit, 2003 KTM 125. I don't know if this identical TPS circuit is in the 250-300, but the process is absolutely the same. And should you feel, and I'm not endorsed by these guys or anything, but if you ever wanted to go online and look for this, I've $100 and something bucks maybe for that. And it's just cool to have in the garage or the toolbox at the track, and something's going on, or your buddy's bike doesn't run right and they mess around. At least you can maybe help them out, or just be more informed of how your bike operates. And this is certainly one way to start doing some simple initial documentation of that. So there you go. Signing off. God bless you all.